Have you ever had that feeling where you're so like fully and purely content to a point where like nobody can take the feeling away? Like it's pure bliss. I don't have many words in English to describe the gratitude and emotions, and without needing a thesaurus, it's another word I can't say. I'm so grateful. I want to start off by saying that this experience that I've had has been one of the greatest things I have ever participated in my whole entire life. And before I start the video, I'm just gonna show I don't even know the sequence of this video, to be honest, but I'll show you this and then we can keep going. It's pretty much just, I can't show you my legal name, but that's me. This is the band that we all wear around our neck. This was the water bottle. It's metallic, recyclable. And then this is another water bottle. It's actually from a company in Saskatchewan, and it's also recyclable. The water in here, I guess the pH level is 8.5, and the company that makes it is called Reason Water. When you scan a QR code, it takes you to the website, and then it shows you like all the benefits, not of the water, but the initiative of why they created this water and water bottle. Speaking of which, I am thirsty. It's been a long day. You know when you're a child and it's really sunny outside, and then you come in from playing and you drink water and just like, that feeling is just so pure, so great. So in this video, we're going to talk about a few things that I usually don't talk about when it comes to work, because I don't know, I understand that a part of having a social media presence sometimes depends on what to share and what not to share, and I like having a private life, so I don't know how to share this without sharing what I think is worth it and what is not. But let's just rewind. I like driving. I like the mountains. I like all things military, policing, Navy, even like national defense. Like I live for things Army, movies, and like whenever I see military personnel, I'm just like fascinated by all the things that encompass the whole entire realm of defense. And so when it came to this particular role, I decided one day I don't even know what I was doing on the internet, but I reached out to a guy and I was just like, hey, I have my class, like 2 out of like, in my province, obviously you have different classes and you can drive different levels of vehicles. So if you have your class 2, you can drive fire trucks, you can drive ambulances, you can drive school buses and stuff like that, coach buses. And so then you get your air brakes, which means then you can drive a coach bus, which is just like the highway bus, and other smaller trucks that require you to utilize air brakes. And when I reached out to the guy and I was just like, yep, I have my class 2. Do you need any drivers for this event? And he responds, he's like, yep. And it was all just like timely. Go do your drug and alcohol test, go do this, go over there, go to the industrial yard and go take that bus, drive it, see how things are. You're gonna meet this guy here, they're gonna get you to do that. All of it was just happening and in sequence. And then some other parts that happened that was private had to do with me not knowing that the year before I So pretty much like when you get your class 2, you're supposed to add certain conditions on it. And my condition, because I drive a school bus, it's supposed to be S. And then because I did my air brakes, I'm supposed to put Q. But I was waiting to add all those letters to my license later when I finish all of my programs and my lessons and everything like that. But time went by and I just did it. So then I get to the yard and the lady's like, we get on an actual bus and she's ready to take me out on the road. And you guys, she looks at my ID, she's like, oh, there's no Q on here. I was just like, yeah, but I have the certificate. She's like, yeah, it needs to be on the license. I was like, I can go to the registry and ask the registry person to like print out my slip and then I'll bring it. She's like, okay, that's fine. So I rush to the registry. I do this the next day. And then I come back and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for the other training for the other buses. And then obviously they didn't have time. I'm like, you know what, let it be. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and that's okay. Anytime something happens and it's not meant to be, it's okay. Life goes on. And so fast forward to training, we go to training. I had to like go to Calgary for more training and certain briefing. I had to take like this 3-hour course, and then I had to go to like other meetings. So overall, it was just like training after training after training. And then lo and behold, the event starts. And so the event starts, everything is going, and it's like we're working, 12-hour shifts. And then when we finish, all of our accommodations are paid, our food is paid. Like pretty much I haven't used my bank card in like 5 days. The thing is though, yesterday morning I had to use my bank card because one of the shuttle drivers forgot to bring their government pass. So he had to drop us off like a little bit further down. So then there was a Tim Hortons and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to get tea because I was freezing and I only had like 4 hours of sleep. No, not even 4 hours, like 2.5 hours of sleep. So then I get my little Tim Hortons, and that was the first time I used my card in a really long time. So, I've been taken care of. So then I go and I get my Tim Hortons, and then 2 hours go by, and then the one guard was like, hey, the restaurant is open, you guys can actually go in. And I'm like, are you serious? So I could have gone in that whole time to have gotten tea, but I just didn't know. So then we go, we eat, have our breakfast, we're sitting waiting. Life is happening. But here's the thing. Day to day, I'm not gonna go through this video because that's gonna be like a whole hour of me talking. So we're not gonna say what happened day to day. But the highlight of all of this, and the only reason why I'm making this video, is to share with you my experience of why sometimes I have lived a life that sometimes feels like it's not mine. There are many experiences that I go through and I look back and I know for a fact I'm living other people's dreams. And it's not just their dreams, but like multiple people's dreams in one. And one thing that I'm going to say is spending time with people that believe in the same things as you, the people that are doing the things that you would want to do, and you're there with them doing the things that you like doing in a place that you like being. It's just like, how in movies it's like, like that angelic thing. Like that's what my whole life has felt like in the past week. Like I said, I cannot describe this feeling. And so now that the event is over, obviously like certain things can be talked about. It's just that during the event we weren't allowed to talk about certain things, and I signed an NDA, so I can't talk about certain things. But the things I can talk about are things that are published and things that are already in the media. And that's all that I can say. Yeah. Logistically speaking, this event alone cost up to $1 billion to host. And looking at every single department that went into making sure that things flowed smoothly, the people that were involved, and the decisions that had to be made. And to be part of this historical event and having been in this circle, to me, it's a blessing. It may not be as big of a deal to other people because it's just a job. And I saw people's attitudes and I was just like, why are you here? Like, go home. Like, if you're going to complain, especially when it's a short-term type of event, like if it was like, we're here for 8 months, like, yeah, it's okay to complain, but we're only here for like a week. Some of them were there for longer because obviously the National Defense had to come in and like set up different military what's it called, all along like the mountains, and then they had like all the snipers around. There's helicopters setting up what do you call it, like outposts. So of course the army had a big job, and you know, they're our first line of defense. They have to be up there first and securing the whole entire area. And then you have the RCMP officers. They also have to come in, do all their briefing, do all their training. You have all the motorcades. They also have to do their training, helicopters landing and takeoffs. So everybody had their parts. And then we also have our parts, being able to transport like all the delegates and things like that. So knowing that we're in a high stakes event and people are just like lax and nonchalant, maybe I take my life way too seriously. Maybe I don't. It doesn't seem like I do sometimes because I'm not always that serious, but this was serious. To me, it was serious. Even though it felt like a vacation, it was a serious vacation. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Okay. I'm just so happy and elated. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, ooh, girl. Yeah. There's like hundreds and hundreds of buses and SUVs and shuttles and motorcycles and helicopters and all forms of vehicles, fighter jets earlier this morning. That was pretty cool. Like watching like the military escort for some of the heads of states and the way that like they flow in sequence, and just the aspiration in me deeply longing for like having that position where I'm the prime minister's, you know, driver. Wherever they go, you know, we fly our SUVs there and land and drive through whatever city that they're visiting. Many people have different goals in life, and I got to live pretty much a life that, I don't know, you know how it's like set the goals and work towards them? I've worked towards my goals. I've traveled. I've pretty much lived a good life, and I've had many friends and good family and like done so many things in this world. And I did this. So if this is somebody's, you know, skydiving experience, if this is somebody's bearing a child and having a child, I'm not saying that this was that, but to me this was bigger than most things that I've done. And I know that there's bigger things to come, because that's just what life is. Like, there's going to be more, because I lived through this, therefore there's going to be more. And I was here and I did it, and I did it well, because of course I didn't get fired. Most of the officers that I got to like work along and, you know, talk to, interact with, they were all very positive about everything, about, you know, our future, our country, the people that protect us. A lot of important factors that went into making sure that these leaders are communicating, because like through them we're building our country, we're making things better, not just for ourselves but like for the world around us. And because the other thing that I found out, I hadn't known this part because I was doing my duties obviously, but through the G7 summit, obviously back then it used to be G8. When we went to school, that's what we knew was G8. But a little while back, it became G7 because Putin, he got kicked out. I don't like talking politics, but obviously it's a part of life. He got kicked out, and therefore it's G7. But each designate leader, every time that they host, they get to choose a few other countries. So it's just like having a VIP list plus other friends. So they brought the Brazilian, Mexican, and even South African people who I hadn't known that were on the list. But as you're driving certain delegates and you see their badges and their flag is on there, and obviously because I'm like a sucker for geography and I know world flags, and I'm just like looking, I'm like, oh, they're here too. Like it felt like a cookout with like all your good friends, because that's what it is. It's like our leader, thank you Mr. Carney for having to invite these guys. I got to see my South African friends. Well, we're not friends, but you know what I mean. Like I love South Africans, but they got to be here. Like it was just awesome. I also love the color of this bottle. Like a lot of people obviously threw theirs out. It means nothing to some people, but I love the colors. I might not keep it forever either, but I love it. For the time being, we're enjoying it. I like this little guy. And then the other thing that made me emotional was because the shuttle bus driver that came to drop me off, I was just saying hi we were talking, and then you guys, okay, so it was just me on the whole entire coach bus, because I was being such a princess. I'm like, I don't want to sit and wait for another coach bus or for a shuttle bus, because the shuttle buses are like small. They're smaller buses. There's like white vans, school buses, industrial buses, and like the buses that look like they're jail buses. But I'm sitting there and this guy brings up a whole entire coach bus. I'm like, excuse me, sir, where are you headed to? He's like, well, I'm gonna go to here, here, and here, because he has to follow a certain loop. And I was like, yeah, I need to get back to Calgary. He's like, don't worry, sister, I can take you. And I'm just like, do you want us to like wait for like other people? So we start scouting to see who else is going to Calgary. And obviously, because this is the end of the event and I'm trying to go home, nobody else needed to go. It was just me on a 56 passenger coach bus driving back. So we're just sitting there talking about, you know, his kids, his family, life, marriage, why I'm not married, because, you know, all they want to talk about sometimes is like, oh, because he thought I was really, really young. And I guess I appeared young to most of the people I was around, but I'm actually like not that young for marriage or too old for marriage. So he was just like, oh, surprised that I'm this old and I'm not married. But anyway, that's besides the point. So I got on the coach. I came all by myself on a freaking 52-seater. And then, so then I get downstairs at the lobby. And before I got out, I had another coach that I was just saying hi to, because he was this old man. God bless his heart. He sees my credential, and obviously it's this one that I was showing you guys. And then look at my beautiful smile. And then he's like, you know, hold on to that forever, and you can tell your grandchildren what you were able to experience. And I like became so emotional, because he's old. He's like over 70. Like, this guy looks old. And I'm just like so happy and grateful, and looking at him, I'm like, yes, I'll let them know. So then I started telling him about my experiences, which some of them I can't even talk about, because some of them are obviously, they're not like classified. It's not like secrets, but you know, some things happened that were private, and then other things that were not so private. But at the very, very last part, that earlier this morning, I was going to go up in a shuttle with my other person that was also staying at the same place as me. So when we're going up towards like the Kananaskis village, they went up first before me, and the most beautiful thing happened. So when they came down and the guy was leaving and he's like, hey, yeah, we got to see Chinook. And I was like, and by the way, like Chinook is just our name for our the helicopters that have like the double blades and stuff. And then I was like, oh yeah, we saw them, because we saw them going in, we didn't see them coming out. And so what had happened was their group, there's 3 of them, when they got there, our prime minister was leaving. And you know how sometimes when you see Air Force One and you see like Trump like waving, yes, on TV that looks like, oh, there he is leaving, but like this is our head of state. He made sure that he was the last to leave, because obviously the captain has to leave last. He had said bye to like all the other delegates and everything like that. Now, I wasn't up there to know if he was the last to leave, but according to everybody, he was the last to leave. And at that time, security started like, you know, clearing out the barricades and stuff like that. So they got to actually have a send-off where he walked to the helicopter and they were all like waving to him, and I was just like, oh my God. If I was there, I would have literally cried. Like, yeah, I don't really fangirl about most things in life, but I love good leaders, good men. I love my brothers. I literally fangirl over my brothers sometimes. And I'm just like, I just love watching people that are proud of where they're from and like take time out of their day to say bye to people. And at that moment, people were allowed to take out their phones, and that was the first time that we could actually record. But I happened to have stayed behind because I needed to give the other drivers a chance to go up there so that they can bring more people down. So imagine if I had gone up with him, which I was literally 2 seconds behind them, but I was like, no, it's okay, they can go. So then I would have been up there too with the rest of the staff, like just like waving goodbye to Carney, but I didn't. It's okay. It's okay. We got other experiences. Like on my first run up, we were like, I was driving like a few like German delegates, and then we made it. It's like a winding road like this, and literally as we're going around the corner, like an RCMP officer guy, his lights are on because the whole entire road there was like blockages everywhere. So then he comes down and he like waves me to like, this means obviously slow down, but because we're going up the hill, we're already going like at no miles per hour. We were like crawling. But then if he says that, you still have to slow down. So I go even slower than slow. So the Germans and the French, and there was like a few American SS service guards. They're 2 of them. They're like, oh, it's what's his name, Macron. And then I'm obviously doing my best to like be as slow as possible. Then I look to my left, and lo and behold, it was the French prime minister or president. I don't know what they have over there. And the thing is, I've only ever seen this guy on TV, so to me, he could have just been any other human. But because the way that things were, I was just like, oh yeah, haha. Like pretending like I've seen him in real life before when I haven't. This is the first time I see this man in my life. It was so funny. So yeah, and then he's like coming down, and then there's like his Secret Service with him, and a few like this big SUV, like it's like an army looking SUV, even though it's like a regular SUV, just has extra stuff on it and antennas and whatever. And then the golf cart was like also carrying a few people on it. But it was just so funny seeing that. He's the only like world leader that I actually got to see like face to face and stuff. And then yeah, so then we went up the hill, and then there was like a few other moments where, me being such an awkward human being, I ended up going like, there's, the only way to describe it is like there's like a room that looks like a big living room, and then they had put curtains, and then the door was like still accessible, and in there there's washrooms, and then there's a place to get food. The thing is, you could go there and get coffee like all morning, especially when the electricity went out, because like at the bottom of the mountain there was like a little bit of a electrical like power outage. So some of us were getting like our coffees. Well, I don't drink coffee, but my work friends, they would get their coffee in that little room. So they're like, hey, if you want a snack, just go upstairs and, you know, open the door, go in, and you can get yours. Excuse me, knowing my luck, I go with another girl. We get off the bus, we open the door, and maybe I didn't read the room, but that's where the food's supposed to be. That's where you know when you're expecting something to be there, but you get there, it's completely different? You guys, when I opened the door, there was a Secret Service officer, because it's like double doors, and he literally stands up right away. He's like, hey, you can't be in here. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just came to get a snack. Oops. And obviously I'm so awkward, so I just made this face. I was like, I just came to get a snack. Sorry. Trying to act all cute. Little did I know, there's a meeting going on behind him in that room. And because he got up, the people in the meeting saw me, and I looked over and I was just like, oh, awkward. And you know, like the meme where Homer Simpson like goes back into the bush and like recedes? That's how embarrassing I felt. But again, I didn't know, so there was no need to be embarrassed. So I just like smiled, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go find another washroom. So then I close the door, and then I go around, and they're setting up stanchions, like black stanchions. When they were setting them up, I was like, well, it kind of looked like there's a heavier presence of SS guards here, so maybe I'm gonna go around the tent so I can go to the restaurant that way, because there's another entrance inside the store. I turn around, there's more guards, literally like every single, and I was like, well, I guess something important is about to happen, because we're just gonna have to walk away. All of a sudden I got flustered, and I started feeling like I'm gonna faint, because again, we hadn't eaten, hadn't slept, nothing, and I thought that was my last resort for food. So my brain is already telling me, this is where you're gonna get your food. But lo and behold, I couldn't even get food. So then I see this girl, and I was like, well, she looks like she's assisting rather than like guarding. I was like, excuse me, I'm literally about to faint. And mind you, some seasons I get hypoglycemia, and some seasons I don't. And for some reason yesterday, maybe it was the lack of sleep and just lack of sleep, high altitude, all these things catching up, dehydration. She looks at me, she's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, I show her my pass, and I was like, and then she calls the supervisor. She's like, can this particular pass come into this area? She's like, not for right now, but you can come in, get this stuff, and bring it for her. So she bring me apple juice, God bless her soul, a banana, and a Cliff Bar, and a water. And I was so thankful. I literally drank this apple juice like I would just like a camel. And then I'm breathing, and I'm like, well, it's time to go back. So then we turn another corner, and I kid you not, all the media was coming in because they were getting ready for their main photo with all the world leaders. And they're like, it's not first in command, I think it's like their assistant, but like they had like this picture with like all the world leaders and the people that they invited. So I guess, knowing my luck, when I went up to get my food, that was the time when all the Secret Service was getting posted to welcome all the delegates in for this group photo. Even my stomach is turning right now, because I'm like, why am I such an awkward human being, and I'm always around situations that are awkward? But like, they were really nice, honestly. Like, all the SS guards, they were really, really nice, because they could have easily been like, you guys, or followed me or went around with me and the girl, because we definitely looked like we shouldn't have been there, because they were all getting ready, posted, standing straight, earpieces in, looking around, glasses, like, you know, the FBI guys, not FBI, what do you call it? Like Secret Service agents, like, you know how they look in the movies. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and sit on the bus. And then I'm waiting for the next shuttle, but like it wasn't coming, and I had already felt so awkward enough that I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. Everyone is in their suits. Everyone is ready for you know, the president to arrive, the media cameras are all there. The space is being cleared for like the main photo. And as soon as we're about to leave, obviously, once the quarters were all clear, and all we see is just like, because on our way up, they had already been bringing in other delegates, and like I was like behind their motorcade, and so they went into a secluded area, and then I came out. So on my way out, then the next motorcade was dropping off the next delegate, like the next head of state. And so, yeah, life is wild, was wild, because now that all this is over, I can talk about it. And like, by the time I post this video, everyone has left. Like, our prime minister flew out earlier this morning. I don't know what else to say. I'm so happy. I really am. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I will have these memories for as long as I live, and because I got to be first-hand witness in the story I get to tell. In the news, you'll hear other things. You'll hear of the political stuff that happened and people doing A, B, C, D, but that's none of my business. Like, I care about defending this country. I care about, you know, the movements that are going to help benefit the world, and things that are going to benefit also my home country where I'm from, because yes, I'm Canadian by nationality and passport, but I'm Congolese born, but also I'm a human being on planet Earth. Like, borders don't mean anything to me, but because borders still matter in terms of national defense, I still have to care about my country, and I have two countries to care for. So I'm living in this one. I'm caring for it. If I was back home, I would care for mine too. But representation of, you know, parties that are going to be in line and reflective of world peace, even though there's no such thing as world peace, because war is what fuels some of these economies. But I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to take part in such a big event. I'm very blessed to have been, you know, selected to do this, and thankful for like all the officers that I got to spend time with and all the inspiration. They had a lot of young people in positions where some of them, like, you know, their parents are either in the realm of like organizing these events, but like they had young people. I saw an RCMP officer that was like 22. I stopped him, I was like, excuse me, young man, how old are you? Because bro, you look 19. And because to them I look young, obviously I wasn't dressed like this the whole weekend, but I looked cute the other days, and most of the people there thought I was like under 25. So then I was like, yeah, like, how old are you? And then he's like, I'm like 22. And then later when I found out that he's also engaged, I'm like, this kid is 22. He's an RCMP officer and is engaged. And he's so cute. I'm like, good for you, bro. Like, I'm so proud of you. And I don't know how he took it. Obviously, I'm such an auntie to a bunch of these kids, but I had to give it to them. And then there was another one. He's like, he looked like he was like maybe from like half Indian, maybe half white or something like that, but he has twists in his hair, so he has like clean shave and then his twister down, and he's all suited up and looking cute, and he has like his plaid pants and his black shoes. And because they give him these vests, so they're the ones who are working with the government of Canada, and you know, letting us know like, hey, these delegates are going to come, who's going to pick them up, and then we would get ready to like get the delegates in. So they were all so young, and I like how he was like assertive in his role, and he wasn't messing around, and I think they briefed them to be serious. And even though adults weren't taking them seriously, which is another thing that I have against old people, because they're just used to having other old people in these roles, but this time around, like, it was young people taking care of things. And they should have respected that for these kids, but they weren't respecting them, to be honest. And I heard some crazy stories too about other people who were trying to disrespect the kids, and the kids tried to stand up for themselves, and then the adults felt disrespected. But I'm like, yeah, if you felt disrespected, it's because you said something bad to a kid, because most of these kids were actually really good. And I swear the youngest of them must have been like 23 or less, because they were like petite. Like they weren't just young kids. 2 of them were girls, 3 of them were boys, and another girl came the next day. And they were like petite people. And then they all had like their little professional clothes on. I was such a proud auntie. Yeah, so when I left, I just told them, I'm so proud of you, keep being you, and like whatever you do in life, you'll do well, because I saw the way you were working and you did really well. But what else happened? The food. So parts of the meetings was also having to do with relationships with like Indigenous affairs. I really love the role that the Indigenous affair, whatever ministry, had with all of this, because the representation of Indigenous people in Canada matters so much. I can't even get into all of it because like this video is getting too long, but on one of the days they had on the opening ceremony, like an Indigenous group come in. So the security guards were like getting them ready, going through security, and then we escorted them up. I didn't get to escort the dancers or anything like that. Somebody else did. And so it was so nice to see like them incorporated in this, especially because like we are in like Indigenous land. And I know that people will fight and say, oh, the land belongs to all of us, which is true. But the fact of the matter is the way that this land was acquired was not in the most humane possible way. And this is why we're still reconciling like all these years later, because we still haven't learned how to get along. But anywho, is there even a good way to take land away from somebody? I don't know. But there's noble ways to do it, and the people before didn't do it, so that's why the people now are trying to apologize for it. But that's an ongoing effort on everybody's end. But the thing that was good about it was how, like on the one hotel, all the workers were Indigenous. And I hope that the people that were visiting us could see that, you know, in this area that we were in, people of the land were the ones helping in the restaurants, helping at the front desk, and like, you know, at some checkpoints, and like they were actively working. And people always have this back stigma about them, but I'm like, no, you just happen to not know or see that a large majority of them actually can hold jobs. They can do things, and they're like contributing members in society, but people don't show that side of them because they're used to showing the freaking drug and broken side. But the drug and broken side is also the side that was like taken advantage of through, you know, the history of that we're not going to talk about because it's really sad. But I'm really proud, and like as a minority, I was so proud, because let's be honest, like there aren't that many Black girls. I saw like 5 Black girls in this whole entire thing. There was like 2 moms and 1 girl from France, 1 girl on the Secret Service she wasn't like directly Secret Service, she was like secretary type of, from like the US. There was a half Black girl, so okay, I guess 5.5. And then me, and could there have been 1 more? Oh, the girl from South Africa. So I guess 7 or 6.5. Like, and that will tell you, that will tell you, most of my jobs I've always been a minority. And it's okay. Either a minority or just the only girl. And you can tell why. Like, I'm mostly interested in like military related things, and usually like you don't see people like me there. But it was just so funny, like being a minority and then seeing the Indigenous people and how great they were doing. It made me so proud, because as human beings, yes, it doesn't matter like our background, because we're all human, but representation still matters. Yes, we're all the same, but representation matters a lot. Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. If there's anything more to say, I'm sure I'm gonna make a second video, or if I think about something else, and I'll do that. But overall, I'm glad that I got to record this and share it. And I pray and hope that if you Google the G7 summit, or you know, NATO and all the countries that are involved in making some of the big decisions around the world, you can see that these people came here, they had decisions to make, they have conclusions to make, Trump dipped early. Yes, he had things to do, but the rest of them that were there, they have decisions to make that will affect the rest of us for the rest of our lives. And we need to be on the side of history that's going to be fair for humanity. Whether fairness is not a thing or not, you don't have to believe in it, but practice and be a part of the good in history. And I think that we're doing a great job by having these meetings, costly meetings, but they are necessary for the growth of this economy. They're necessary for the growth of people and their safety. There's so much going on abroad, and we can only pray to God that God can protect this land, can protect the people, continue to give us wisdom and grace to be able to cover each other and stand up for one another, because there's so many people who are suffering in this world, people who are being disserviced and people who are being displaced. They don't have anywhere to go, and yet there's so much land for them to go to. There's so much food to feed everybody, yet people are hungry. And it's, in the end, it'll be God's mercy on us, and none of us have a decision in what God chooses. So it is what it is. It might be my last night here, because when I upload this, obviously I would have already been in Edmonton. Welcome to my world, and thanks for taking a part of a snippet of my life. And as much as I want to share some of the private moments in my life, I didn't know how to share this part because it's work related, but it's also a part that affected me a lot. And I look forward to more opportunities like this. And I've made connections with a few people, so there are more opportunities coming. And I just pray that I can fulfill all the things that I'm asking for, because it's one thing to pray for something, and it's another thing to be able to receive what you've prayed for, and to work for it and maintain it. So here's to, I don't know if you have a glass or something, but today we're gonna cheers to G7 and Reasons Water. No affiliation, I like the bottles. They were there at the conference. And here's to all the people that made the G7 summit possible, and all the people in the world that are trying to find world peace. And here's to all of us for being wonderful, beautifully made. Here's to Calgary for being so nice. Sorry, Edmonton, but Calgary is actually really nice. And cheers to life. Click and click. And here's to my badge, as the old man said. For my grandchildren, we'll pray for that. And then they'll see a picture of their grandma. Look at me. And they'll be like, oh my God, my grandma worked there. And remember, the last G7 summit was in 2002, I think, like here in Alberta. So yes, they happen around the world and everything, but it's not often that they'll come back here. So here's to the future. God bless, and God willing that I'm alive, I'll take part of the next one for sure. And at that time, what occupation will I have? I don't know, but I know for a fact I want to be there again. So let's pray on that. Until then, serve and protect. I'm supposed to salute with this hand, but the camera is like reversed, so let's just salute with both. I hope this is not offensive in any military because there's certain things that I just need to learn if I'm going to be in this type of work. Like my hat, courtesy of Lululemon, sweater Lulu, pants, I don't know, shoes, Sorel. But yeah, I wore these shoes because they remind me of the military. Yeah, everything I wore was just like tactical, trying to look the part. Oh, my water bottle was in the way the whole time because it's my tripod. Okay, I'm gonna show you outside and I'm gonna go in 3, 2, 1. God bless Calgary. And here's to Sage for having clean towels.